On a rainy evening, Aisha was cleaning the attic of her late grandmother's house. Among dusty boxers, she found an old envelope, sealed with red wax. Her name was written on it yet. It was dated 20 years before she was even born. Shaken, Aisha opened the letter. Inside was a message warning her about a choice. She would face a choice between love and truth. But how could her grandmother have known this? The next day, Aisha noticed a man following her from the market. He introduced himself as Arman and claimed he knew about the letter. He said it was never meant to reach her. Arman revealed that Aisha's grandmother had once made a dangerous promise on that Aisha was now the one chosen to fulfill it. The letter was a warning, not a gift. Aisha stood at a crossroad. If she destroyed the letter, she could live a normal life. But if she followed its instructions, she would uncover her family's deepest secret. Her heart pounded truth or peace. Aisha chose truth. She followed the clues in the letter to an abandoned well behind the house. Hidden beneath the stones, she found a diary that revealed her grandmother had once betrayed someone powerful, and that betrayal was still haunting their bloodline. Suddenly, Arman snatched the diary. "You were never supposed to find this," he hissed. As Aisha struggled to get it back, she realized the handwriting inside wasn't her grandmother's. It was her own, written years into the future. The rain hammered against the roof, a relentless rhythm drumming against the old house. I was in the attic, surrounded by the ghosts of my grandmother's life, packed away in dusty boxers. I wasn't looking for anything, really. Just ... saying goodbye. I guess. That's when I saw it, tucked away in a forgotten corner. An old, yellowed envelope sealed with a splash of crimson wax. My name, Aisha, was scrawled across the front in a familiar, elegant hand. But underneath it, a date that made my heart stop. It was from 20 years ago. 20 years. How was that possible? My hands trembled as I broke the seal. The letter was short, cryptic. It spoke of a necessary deception and a heavy secret. It ended with a single instruction. Go to the old lighthouse at dawn. Don't tell anyone. My grandmother had always been a woman of secrets, but this felt different. Darker. The rain seemed to whisper warnings, but my curiosity, my need to understand, was stronger. The next morning, wrapped in a thick coat against the pre-dawn chill, I drove to the coast. The lighthouse stood like a lonely sentinel against a bruised, purple sky. As I approached, a figure emerged from the shadows. It was Mr. Abernathy, my grandmother's old lawyer, a kind, gentle man I'd known my whole life. His presence here, at this hour, sent a shiver down my spine. Aisha, he said, his voice grave. I was hoping you'd come. Your grandmother entrusted me with this. He handed me a small, locked wooden box. She said you'd have the letter. The key. I looked down at the letter in my hand. Tucked into the fold was a tiny, ornate silver key. It fit perfectly. Before you open that, Mr. Abernathy continued, his eyes pleading, you must understand. Some truths are better left buried. Your grandmother did what she did to protect you, to give you a life of peace. Are you sure you want to shatter that? His words hung in the salty air. Peace, or the truth. Could I live with a comfortable lie, or did I need to know the reality, no matter how painful? I had to know. My fingers closed around the key. I turned the key, and the lock clicked open. Inside the box lay a stack of faded photographs and another letter, this one in a different, messier handwriting. As I read, the world I knew began to crumble. The letter was from my grandfather. The man I'd been told died a hero in a tragic accident before I was born. But this letter, it told a different story. A story of a man consumed by debt, involved with dangerous people. He hadn't died in an accident. He had abandoned his family, faked his death, and disappeared, leaving my grandmother to clean up his mess and protect her family from the fallout. The hero I had mourned my entire life was a lie my grandmother had crafted to shield me from a harsh, ugly truth. Tears streamed down my face as I looked at the photos, pictures of a man I didn't recognize, smiling with people who looked dangerous. My grandmother had carried this burden alone for decades. She had sacrificed her own truth for my happiness. It was a heavy, heartbreaking realization. Mr. Abernathy placed a comforting hand on my shoulder. She loved you more than anything, Aisha. Every choice she made was for you. He was right. The anger I felt towards the lie was eclipsed by an overwhelming wave of love and gratitude for my grandmother. She had given me a gift, a peaceful childhood, free from the shadows of my grandfather's choices. And in that moment, I knew I had to honor her sacrifice. I gathered the contents of the box, the photos, the devastating letter. As I placed them back inside, something else caught my eye. At the very bottom, a small, folded note I hadn't seen before. It was on crisp, new paper, unlike the others. I unfolded it carefully. The handwriting was shaky, but undeniably mine. It read, "He's coming back. You have to be ready." I stared at the note, my blood turning to ice. My handwriting, but I hadn't written this. The ink was fresh. How could this be here? It was a message from the future. The secret wasn't over. It was just beginning. My grandfather, he was coming back. The story my grandmother had so carefully constructed was about to be torn apart. And this time, I was the one who had to face it. The past and future were colliding in this single, terrifying moment. The rain had stopped, and the first rays of dawn were breaking over the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. But for me, a new storm was gathering. A storm I had been warned about by myself. I looked out at the vast, unforgiving ocean, the locked box heavy in my hands. The secret was no longer just my grandmother's to keep. It was mine now, and I had no idea what to do next. What would you do? This story is a reminder that family secrets can have long shadows, and sometimes the truth is far more complicated than we can imagine. It makes you wonder what secrets might be hiding in your own family's past. If you were moved by Aisha's journey and want to see what happens next, make sure to hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapter of this unfolding mystery. Stay curious, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. If you loved this story, hit subscribe, share it with friends, and tell me in the comments what kind of story you want next.